Airbnb Insights on Easy Mode is what this one is called. We're going to be explaining what conversion rate is, all this like mumbo jumbo marketing terms. I'm going to break it down for you super simple. I'm going to give you what stats you should be targeting and specifically what to do if you're not hitting those stats with one of our live example properties. So without further ado, drop your questions below if you have any, and then I will answer them at the end, or if it's related to Airbnb Insights, I will answer them as we go. Let's jump in. And if you guys are not in our school community, I dropped the link below, and it's the QR code. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, Caleb W. Shore. I will send you the link directly to get our free Airbnb. If you're looking to start or scale your Airbnb, you need to go through this course. It is completely free, and it's better than a lot of paid courses out there. So Airbnb Insights on Easy Mode. So what I mean by Airbnb Insights, let me kind of start there. On Airbnb, you've got insights over here. So at the top, all the listing, it's insights. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can see. So it's menu and then insights right here. And then I will kind of share exactly what all this means. I'm making it a little smaller just so everybody can see it on mobile and desktop. So all these stats, they look like mumbo jumbo. For years, I didn't know what any of this crap meant, to be very honest with you. And I'm going to break it down for you just like we do internally, and then just like we do for our clients, to know what exactly to work on. I think half the battle is figuring out what's broken in the system. It could be your Airbnb pictures suck. I don't know. It could be something in your listing description is pushing people away. It could be that you don't have enough amenity checked. Like I had a client this week that didn't have hot water checked. So on the listing, it had hot water no, like marked out. You better believe that was affecting bookings in a negative way. So all that to say, there's a lot that could go wrong. I want to kind of zoom out and keep it super, super simple. Brady J, what's up? Thanks for watching. So let's kind of get into it. So there's 4 main categories here, and I'm not going to go all nerdy on you. A lot of this can go over a lot of people's heads, especially if you're like just starting out. I'm going to keep it as simple as I can. So the 3 most popular ones are over here to the right. The overall, let me see if I can get this bottom piece out a little bit. I'm trying to make this exactly fit. All right, whatever. You guys will just have to screenshot this or zoom in or whatever. So kind of the high level numbers are overall conversion rate. This is essentially kind of a summary of all the 3 main stats. I don't like to look at that one because it's a lagging indicator versus a leading indicator. What I mean by that is lagging is like the finish line. The leading indicators are, the sprints up until the finish line. So you focus on the things that you can control, and then the lagging indicators take care of themselves. So ignore this first one over here. I think it's probably that way, if I'm thinking about this correctly. First page search, this second one, number 1, like 51% on this screen. This is a live listing, by the way. This is one that we manage. Search to listing conversion, the one that's 19.8%. And then the average listing to booking conversion. Once again, they sound very confusing and not a lot of people know what they are. I'm going to break it down for you. So first page search, you don't need to worry, just ignore impression rate, like marketing mumbo jumbo. First page search. Of the searches that guests look for, your property shows up on the first page. That's where all the money is made, is the first page. Now, obviously, if you're not first page, like you can still get booked, yada, yada, yada. But you always want to be on the first page. Now, initially, people are like, oh, 50%. Like 50% is actually really, really good. One of our internal metrics is, so before I get into the metrics, I'll show you that here in a second. The first page search. So of 50% of the searches that people look for, let's say this property is in Charlotte, I'm looking for a house that hosts 6 guests in Charlotte for these dates. This specific property for the last month shows up half of the time. A lot of times whenever we take on clients, and if you're curious, like we do this for all of our clients, we break down this in super layman's terms. A lot of our clients, this will be like 20 to 30, 40% on average, which is probably the biggest reason that people are not getting booked. So what that specifically means is you're not showing up when people are actually looking for your property. Typically, I've kind of bucketed this into the 3 most important factors that affect this number right here. So typically it's like poor ratings, higher prices, or like your title is not optimized. So poor ratings, obviously we all know that's important, but that's like you got to have good ratings. Otherwise, Airbnb is not going to promote your listing and you're not going to get booked. You still might get booked even if this is like a 30%, but you're missing the boat on a lot of those. So the poor ratings, obviously that speaks to itself. I think the high prices is something you can actually do something about. Obviously the ratings, guests are going to be guests, but the high prices, that's something you can actually look at. So I would say probably, 90% of the clients that we end up working with have just astronomically high prices. I'm not saying that the property is not worth it, but the guests are smart. They're looking around, they're searching multiple properties, they're reviewing your listing in depth, and you got to make sure whenever they're flipping through the photos, like you got outstanding photos, nailed the reviews, the description's on point, and then your pricing is on point. Otherwise, if you're 30% higher than the house next door or the apartment next door, and they offer similar amenities, that other place that is 30% cheaper is getting booked 9 times out of 10. Actually, 10 times out of 10. Guests are very smart. So that's the most important one. That's the first one to fix is the first page search. Once again, high prices, bad reviews, and title. Title's third important. I just keyword jam the title: king bed, game room, pool. I did a whole video on that. If you want the replay, let me know. So the second one, search. Is this making sense? Is questions? I haven't seen a question yet. Drop them down below. I think we got like 15 people watching right now. Appreciate all of you. Love you guys. All right, search to listing right here. This 20%er. So typically, actually, let me go back a little bit. Couple stats, and you guys are probably going to want to screenshot this right here. Make this a little bit bigger. Oh, wrong screen. So, come on. There we go. Get in one page. First page search. So 50%. That's like the starter marker. If you're not at 50, change some of the other things, and over time you will climb back to that 50%. So that's kind of first thing. I put 50. Some of our properties are like 60%. Some are like 45, sometimes 40 if we're like super occupied or there's like a big event coming where like are really priced up, like July 4th, Memorial Day, Labor Day, things like that. But typically first indicator, I would go check that right now. What are you at? Drop it in the comment. It's super easy to find. Let me know what you're at there. So search to listing. This is the next biggest one. So think about it from the guest perspective. Search to listing. Whenever they're looking for a property, first you got to show up. First page, second page, wherever you're at. Now, the second piece is them clicking on your listing and then hitting your like landing page, splash page. You've caught their eye as they're scrolling through. The price is right, the title's right, your reviews are solid. They've like, oh crap, this listing looks really good. Let me click on it. So that's when that is counted. So search to listing conversion right here. Now, keep in mind, let's say 100 people are searching. You show up in 50%. So 50 of those 100 people, you're on the first page. Great. Check. First box check. You're done. Now, of those 50 people, this is where this comes in. So 8 to 15%. What is that? 16 to 30 people you're actually getting clicked on and they're hitting your actual listing page. So that's a good indicator. There is about 8 to 15%. What do we hear? Okay, so we're well above what our kind of internal metric is, about 19%. So we're, I mean, double to a little bit over that. That's great. So that tells me this listing photo, the hero photo, the numero uno photo, which is the most important one, people are like, whoa, this is sick. This property is actually a drone shot of a pool that's super blue. It's a bright sunny day, not a cloud in the sky, and it freaking crushes, obviously. So we're showing up first. We are getting clicked on. And then the next step is like listing to booking. So once they're on that page, of those 16 to 30 people, one of those, well, less than one of those convert. So 1%. That's actually, I think that's our internal indicator, is 1 to 2%. So 1 to 2% is a healthy listing to booking. It sounds like not a lot, but if you get 100 people to that page, one of those is getting a booking. So another kind of thing to look at is check your like overall views, and let me know. I'll kind of compare that. I'll do a completely different video on like how many views per month you should be getting. Obviously market dependent, but listing to booking conversion is about 1 to 2%. What are we at? Okay, so we're actually near the upper bound here. So I would like to see that a little higher, but like 1.7, I would take that. This is a super seasonal property. It's a super like summer heavy month. Now, if this was in like January, February, I'd be freaking over the moon with it. So I'm okay with that one. I think probably the biggest one is we could probably potentially get a little bit higher in the first page search. But so all those three are summarized into this number one. So hopefully that kind of ties it in together, what I said at the beginning of the training. If you're watching on the replay, rewind back. Or if you missed it, rewind back on the replay. So 0.34, what's our internal metric? So 0.3 to 0.5 is like the overall conversion rate. It kind of just summarizes all the things. I think this is just, I don't know, it's probably my least favorite metric of all these. So we're a little bit lower. That's probably with, this being, pretty good. That being, I would like to see that more closer to 2%. So kind of rounds off this this piece actually. I think that might be a little too stretched depending on where you're at. All right, so that's kind of the overall like breakdown of what these metrics mean and like how to actually use them. So let me go through. So I went through search to listing conversion and like what to actually do to fix that one. Actually, I've got a couple more. Let me kind of drill in on this and search to listing. So that's when you show up in search, making sure people click in your listing. The hero photo, the number one photo, is the most important one. Obviously, reviews as well. I think price per night and the total is very important here, because depending on if you're on mobile or desktop, it shows the price per night and the total. I think it's actually total now that Airbnb is rolling out their all-in-one no junk fee, that whole like debacle thing. If you haven't heard about that, like I'll send you the article. It's been kind of entertaining. And then the headline as well. So that kind of gets you into the search to listing. Now, listing to booking, I didn't go over this. I want to kind of hit on these points as well. If you want kind of the notes in my internal piece, let me know. I will share this Google Doc with you. It's actually in our free community as well, for free. It's downloadable. Take it, run with it. You're welcome. So this listing to booking conversion. Let me actually make sure. Yep, you guys are still on the right screen. Listing to booking conversion. So if it's a low, let's say it's 0.5%, or even like on the lower bound of 1%. Typically, it is something on the listing. So it's not really your accommodation pricing. It's not, could be reviews, but probably not. At this point, it's something on the listing itself. So it's either photo 2 through the rest of the photos. On average, guests only look at about 13 photos. So it's not the hero photo because they've already clicked it. We've already been down that road. That's done. That's checked off. It's photo 2 through that 13. Something in there is deterring them. Now it could be you have 5 images of your living room in a row, and they're like, okay, what else does this house offer? They're like swiping through. They're only looking at 13. We have an attention span of a freaking goldfish nowadays. So you gotta hook them very quickly. Photos, listing description. I think this one is very, very important. I've seen so many listing descriptions that are like 3 sentences long and then nothing else. It has nothing about, what's included, what's not included, what parking is like, how many bedrooms, like what are the bed sizes. It's the same thing in the photos except translated into text. Some people don't like photos. They would just rather read about it. Like my wife just reads every single word whenever they're like, oh, and this buried in paragraph 7 is this one thing about this Jenga game or something. And I'm like, I didn't see the Jenga game in the photos. Like, where was that? So people do read those. I think another important one that gets people to convert. So all the hard work is done in these 2. I think these are the hard 2 steps. Here's like, they're already sold. They're on photo 30. They're halfway through your listing description. They're probably already sold on this property. Now it's just, bringing them across the finish line. House rules is a very, very popular one that could deter people from booking. Cancellation policy. If you're too strict on the cancellation policy and somebody's looking for like a flexible cancellation policy, that is a very, very good thing, very easy thing to tweak. And then I think the last thing is the cleaning fee price. This has been something that I have been screaming from the rooftops about. Cleaning fees are just, if everybody's charging $150 for the cleaning fee for this 3-bedroom house and you're at $200, the $150 place just based on the fee is getting booked over your $200. We've actually adjusted some of our cleaning because our cleaning costs are high. Our cleaners are good. We've actually like lost $20 on the cleaning fee to get the booking to be more competitive, if that makes sense. Kind of an advanced level, but we do this for all of our clients. So listing to booking conversion. So I think those are probably the biggest things that do that. And yeah, that's yeah, those are the big things there. What questions do you guys have? Appreciate everybody rocking with me so far. What questions? Related to this or not related to this? Perrier. Nothing? Nobody questions. Airbnb, making money? No? We're good to go? Sweet. All right. Just under 20 minutes. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. And we'll actually be tomorrow, Friday at 1 is our office hours. See y'all then.